What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got our Week 12 fantasy football running back starts and sits for every single matchup, so make sure to tune in. If you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Today's video is brought to you guys by Birddogs. And look, I know we're all searching for that perfect pair of shorts or pants that offers the best style, the best comfort, the best bang for your buck. Well, guess what? That search is over because Birddogs offers all of that and so much more. If you're looking for shorts, they have a ton of options with activewear, casual wear, or even beachwear. On top of that, their pants have a selection of khakis, joggers, and sweatpants. So what are you waiting for? Regardless of the occasion of the season, get yourself the most stylish, the most comfortable pair of pants with a built-in liner from Birddogs.com. And if you use promo code ADP today, you'll get a free rope hat with your purchase. Again, that's Birddogs.com, code ADP, and you'll get a free rope hat with your purchase. Make sure to check out birddogs.com, link in the description. And we kick off Week 12 on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. 3 games, the first of which is the Bills at the Lions. And I think this is a favorable matchup for the running back position. For the Bills, Devin Singletary, he's the name that you want to know. I have him as a mid to high-end running back 2 on the week. Very favorable matchup. Now, you might say, well, what about James Cook? He had some decent plays this last week. He's been getting some more usage. But with James Cook, I need to see it on a more consistent level. I need to see, double-digit carries on a more consistent level. And the fact that he's still behind Singletary and the fact that Josh Allen is still taking away rushing yards and touchdowns from both of these guys make me not want to throw the dart on James Cook. That's why I have him as a sit. For the Lions, simple, really, kind of the exact same situation as last week. Might hurt to hear, but DeAndre Swift is a sit. Doesn't matter where you drafted him. Since returning from his injury, he hasn't been getting the volume. In order to start DeAndre Swift, he needs to put together several weeks of double-digit rushing volume. Until that happens, he is a sit. If he didn't get a touchdown in Week 11, just like the week prior, he would have been a bust. Jamal Williams, therefore, is the start here. I have him as a mid to high-end running back 2. Then Giants at the Cowboys. You'll start Saquon Barkley. He's probably not a top 5 running back on the week. I have him as a low-end running back 1 just because I'm a little bit afraid of the game flow here, kind of what we saw with the Giants this last week. If they are down, which could definitely happen versus this Cowboys team, they kind of abandoned the run. And Barkley hasn't been utilized as a pass catcher as much as we would like to see as of late. So that's kind of what has me worried, but you're still obviously going to start him. For the Cowboys, Zeke, Tony Pollard, both starts. Both had very good performances this last week. Now you're saying, well, should I still start Tony Pollard now that Zeke is back? And I will say, at least here for the short term, yes, it's a short turnaround. These two teams playing on Thursday. Zeke just got back from his injury. So I think that the carries might still be a little bit more equivalent, at least again here this week. Now, don't expect the same type of receiving output that you saw from Tony Pollard in Week 11, but still, I think both these guys are, kind of low to mid-level running back 2s. Afterwards, Pats at the Vikings. I'll start Ramondre Stevenson for New England, but I'm sitting his teammate Damian Harris. The reason being, Ramondre Stevenson pretty much has an edge in every category at the running back position ahead of Harris. That includes rushing attempts and being utilized as a pass catcher. And facing a more capable team than the Jets in the Vikings this week, I could see the Patriots having to, forego an emphasis on the rushing attack more so. So for that reason, I'm only taking a chance on Stevenson. However, I do think he is a solid play high in running back 2. For the Vikings, Dalvin Cook. Again, I don't anticipate every single situation being like what the Vikings saw last week, being 30-plus down to the Cowboys. So they have to abandon the run, put in their backups. That's not going to happen here. Dalvin Cook should bounce back. He is a probably high-end running back 2 on the week. Then Texans at the Dolphins. You start all the guys here. Dameon Pierce, I have him as a mid-level running back 2. He's going to get the volume, and he does have decent touchdown upside as well. But honestly, what you want to focus on here is the Dolphins. because they're facing the worst run defense in the NFL. Jeff Wilson is the primary guy here. He has shown it a couple weeks in a row. He's getting the volume, and I have him as a low-end running back one. Honestly, could be a top 10 guy. Raheem Mostert, though, also, if this is a blowout, could see some decent usage. That's why I would take a chance on him. I have him as a mid-level running back 2 on the week. Then Bengals at the Titans. I'll start Joe Mixon. Notice you see Samaje Perine's name there. I would only start him if Joe Mixon doesn't play. Obviously, he got nicked up this last week. And Perine was good in his absence. Without Joe Mixon, I see Perine as a mid to high end running back 2, and Joe Mixon does have low end RB1 appeal if he plays. For the Titans, it's Derrick Henry, much simpler. As long as he's healthy, you fire him up. He's a top 5 running back, especially in standard scoring formats. Afterwards, Broncos at the Panthers. I'm not excited about any of the guys here. Running back, wide receiver, quarterback, whatever the case might be, no thank you. Reason being is both these offenses are anemic. But let's start with the Broncos because they did make some news this week, specifically at the running back position, releasing Melvin Gordon and Chase Edmonds being nicked up, ankle injury. So you might say, well, Latavius Murray is going to get all the carries in the world. But look, he's not exactly what he used to be. He is on the older side. He's not this elite dual threat running back. So it's tough for me to get excited about him, especially with him being on this god-awful Broncos offense. So I would rather sit him. For the Panthers, same situation. Deontay Foreman, he is the primary guy here, but Broncos' tough defense with Baker Mayfield under center, you just can't trust this offense. And unless the Panthers are in a very, very favorable matchup like they were a couple times versus the Falcons, it just probably won't be smart to start Deontay Foreman for fantasy football purposes. We saw it versus teams like the Bengals versus the Ravens last week, and I think we could see it here versus the Broncos. So I would sit all these guys. Afterwards, Bears at the Jets. Definitely going to start David Montgomery. We said it, without Khalil Herbert, Montgomery could be a top 12 running back for the rest of the year, and he's got a very good matchup here versus the Jets, so I'm starting him. Then for the Jets, I currently do have Michael Carter and James Robinson listed as sits, and yes, they do have a favorable matchup versus the Bears. However, as long as Zach Wilson is the quarterback for the Jets, we saw it versus the Patriots, you can't trust this offense. But the one thing I do want to bring up, Jets coaches have not committed to Zach Wilson being the starter for this week, which is big news, really for all the Jets' weapons. Because if it's Joe Flacco, then I would take a chance on Michael Carter or maybe even James Robinson as well, because I think Joe Flacco actually is a better quarterback than Zach Wilson and gives more scoring upside. But unless that is confirmed, I would still rather sit both of these guys. Then Falcons at the Commanders. I will start Cordero Patterson for Atlanta. He's still not quite getting the same volume. We would like to see Algier getting some usage as well. But I do think Patterson is the primary guy. I'm not going to invest in multiple running backs for Atlanta. That's why you see Algier and Huntley as sits. But something that Patterson does have going for him, if you will, with the Kyle Pitts injury, I think he's going to be utilized more as a pass catcher, so should get a little bit of a boost in PPR formats. However, I still have him as a low-end running back too. For the Commanders, we've seen what guys like Deontay Foreman can do versus them, David Montgomery. I'm going to start both Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. This Falcons defense doesn't scare me. I have both of these guys as low to mid-level running back 2s on the week. Then Bucks at the Browns. Look, the Buccaneers backfield is one of the messiest and toughest to figure out right now. I'm not going to lie to you. Whether Leonard Fournette or Rachaad White is the main guy, it's kind of a crapshoot. White has been named the starter, if you will, but the usage doesn't necessarily back up those numbers. The reason why I have him as a start right now is because Leonard Fournette did injure his hip prior to the bye. Now, I mean, reporters are saying that he's expected to return and be, involved after the bye week here in week 12. But I think this could be the excuse the Buccaneers are kind of waiting for to make White the primary guy. And I mean, their rushing attack isn't anything to write home about either way. So I can't confidently start both of these guys. I'll take a chance on White. I think right now he's got more of the momentum. But either way, I think whether it's Fournette or White, they are low-end running back 2s at best. Then for the Browns, Nick Chubb, I think he's going to rebound. Kareem Hunt, he's kind of that low-end running back 2, high-end running back 3 in that flex spot in PPR formats, and maintain the case here as well. Chubb, he is a low-end running back 1. Bit of a tough matchup, but I think he will rebound. Then Ravens at the Jaguars. Really only excited about Travis Etienne here. He's going to get the volume. He's been great since James Robinson left. I think he's going to be a top 12 running back on the week. For the Ravens, however, Lamar Jackson is the primary rusher here. Kenyon Drake, once Gus Edwards returns, it's a split backfield. There's no clear-cut guy. Justice Hill, nothing to get excited about either. I'm sitting the entire backfield for the Ravens. Then Raiders at the Seahawks. This is actually a pretty easy one. Josh Jacobs, you start. Kenneth Walker, you start. I think the upside for Kenneth Walker is higher. More excited about him. I think he's a top 10 running back on the week. And then Josh Jacobs, I think, is going to be probably a high-end to mid-level running back 2 on the week. Then Chargers at the Cardinals. You start Austin Eckler. The guy's been a top 3 running back really for the last 10 weeks. I don't anticipate that changing here versus the Cardinals defense. He is a set and forget type of guy. For Arizona, James Conner. Now, at the time of this recording, the Cardinals still haven't played, but he's the primary guy. They got rid of Eno Benjamin, so they feel confident in Conner. I'm going to go with him. I think that he is a solid mid to high-end running back 2 on the week. Then Saints at the 49ers. I'm going to start Alvin Kamara, but again, until he sees that very, very solid pass-catching volume, he's in the running back 2 category for me. And versus the 49ers, I could see some bust potential for Kamara in Week 12. So keep that in mind. For the 49ers, I'll start both Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. I think McCaffrey is the primary guy, obviously. I have him as a top 10 running back, but we'll see. Is Elijah Mitchell going to continue to get the volume similar to McCaffrey? If so, he's a solid start. He's a solid flex guy, low-end running back 2, high-end running back 3 type of guy. I think that can be the case here versus the Saints. Then Rams at the Chiefs. I'll start Isaiah Pacheco, and that's really the only guy I'd take a chance on. He did have a good game this last week. Some of it probably has to do with the fact that Clyde Edwards-Helaire got banged up, but that kind of transition to Pacheco has been happening, and I think potentially could have been cemented this last week. And with how bad the Rams are, I think the Chiefs are going to transition to the run attack at some point. The Rams just can't keep up with the Chiefs offensively. So I do think Pacheco can be a solid low to mid-level running back 2 on the week. And then I'm sitting everyone else. You can't trust Akers, Kyron Williams, or Darrell Henderson. You can't trust this entire Rams offense. Really, you don't want to touch it without Cooper Kupp. So I'm sitting all of these guys. And then, like I said before, Clyde Edwards-Helaire kind of seemingly on the way out, also banged up, so I'm sitting him here. Then Pack at the Eagles. For Green Bay, I will only start Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon continues to be really non-fantasy relevant. The Packers offense has not been what it was advertised as, and as a result, A.J. Dillon doesn't carry fantasy value. So Aaron Jones is the main guy, mid to high-end running back 2. A little bit worried about the game script here if the Eagles go up big. For Philly, I'm going with Miles Sanders. I think he's going to be a solid mid-level running back 2 on the week versus this Packers defense. Then Steelers at the Colts. I'll start both Najee Harris and Jonathan Taylor. The Colts defense doesn't scare me, so I think Najee Harris can be an okay play, but to me, he's still in the running back 2 category. For the Colts, I'll go with Jonathan Taylor as the higher upside player of the 2. Since the quarterback change, since the head coaching change, he's had more upside, and I think it continues here versus the Steelers. I have him as a top 12 running back on the week. But with that, we wrap up our Week 12 fantasy football running back starts and sits for every single matchup. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree, along with any other questions you guys might have? We'll do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.